to solve Heat Miser and Robin Hood by Sean Franco. If you would like to try solving this puzzle for yourself, it'll be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 through 9 in every row, every column, and every box. Thermometers. Digits on a red thermometer increase from the solid bulb. So those digits are going to go up from this red thermometer. Arrow sums. Digits on a green arrow sum to the digit in the attached empty green circle. So those two digits will sum to that one. Overlapping clues. Each thermometer shares all its cells with exactly one arrow sum. Each arrow sum shares all its cells with exactly one thermometer. Thermometers and arrows will not branch. So that is a combined thermometer arrow. So is this, and any extension it has. Dynamic fog. Most of the grid is covered in fog. Placing a correct digit may clear some fog somewhere in the grid, possibly revealing other clues. No guessing is necessary. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. All right. Where do we start? Okay, that's very nice. I think. Yes. These thermometers on the arrows preclude the digits on an arrow from being repeats, because they're not slow thermometers, they are just regular thermometers. So that means that the circle for this arrow is here, and that has 3 digits, so that must be at least 6. That means that these 3 digits are what make up this arrow, that's at least 6. And these 3 digits make up this arrow, so that's at least 6. Okay. So that's the bulb of the thermo for this arrow. Okay, if that's 3, then that's a minimum of 4. That's a minimum of 5. That makes 12. That can't be a 3, so that's 1 or 2. If that's 2, that can't be a 4, because that would make 6. This would be at least a 5, which would make 11. So that's a maximum of 4. No, that can't be a 4. That's a maximum of 3. But if that's 1 and 2, this could be as high as 6. So that's 3, 4, 5, or 6. That applies to this arrow as well. That gives me 1, 2 there, 2, 3 there, and 3, 4, 5, 6 there. That applies to this arrow as well. 1, 2 there. I would say 2, 3, but that actually has to be a 3 because I've got a 1, 2 pair in the row. That makes this 4 or 5. It can't be a 6 because I can't get low enough. If that were 6, that would be another 3, that would be 9. And then that digit would make it 10 or more. Okay. Now what? So I have a 1 in one of those two. Oh, okay. That's now 8 or 9. 1, 3, 4 is 8. Yeah. That's not 6 or 7. That's 8 or 9. I can't have 8 in either of those because that would be 1, 8, 9 or 1, 8, 9, and that would break that cell. So that means that 8 is in one of these 3 arrow circles. Let's see. That can't be a 4, because if that were a 4, that would be a 5. Sorry, if this were a 1. Whichever one of these is a 1 can't have a 4 to go with it. That's a better way of putting it. Oh, but hang on. Right. In particular, this row can't have a 4, because if this is a 1, then the smallest this digit can be is a 4, because of the 2-3 pair, and then that would make that 5, and that breaks that cell. So that's not a 4. If that were a 4, in order to keep it down, wait a minute, that would be 5, that would be 9, but that would break that cell. But, okay, one of these is going to be 2, 3, 4. I don't know which one, 2, 3, 4. So those can't be 4s. That can't be a 4, because that would be 4, 5, 9, and then the 4, 5 would break this cell. That can't be a 4, because that would have to be 1, 4, 5, which would again break that cell. So this is a 4. Okay. That was nice. So if that's not a 1, then what? That's at least a 5, 6, and that's going to break, because it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So that, yes, that would have to be at least a 5 if it's not a 1. Therefore, that has to be a 1. That has to be at least 5. So that's 5, 6, or 7, or 8. That's 6, 7, 8, or 9. That is no longer a 1. If it were not a 2, it would have to be at least a 5, and then there would actually be no place for 2 anyway. That's got to be a 2. So this is now at least a 5. That's 5, 6, or 7. That is 7, 8, or 9. Okay. Um, so one of those two is a 5. Okay, if right, this can't be an 8, because if that's an 8, then that's a 9, and that breaks that cell. And conversely, that can't be a 9, now that we know that that is a 1 here. So 9 is in one of these two. Okay, if this was 6, that would be 7, that would be 5, and that would be 7. This is not 6. If this were 5, that would be 6, that would be 7, that would be 9, that would be 8. If that's 7, that's 8. If that's 7, that's 8, that's 9, and then that has no fill. So that has to be 5, that has to be 6, that has to be 7, that has to be 9, that has to be 8, and that has to be 1. That is a really nice break-in. Okay, so we have another 3-cell thermo arrow here. So that's 1, 2, that's 2, 3, this is 3, 4, 5, or 6. Well, it's not 4 or 5. This is 6 or 7. And this can't be 1, 2, 4. So it's got to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3 for a 6. This is a 3-cell thermo arrow. That has to be a 7 because it sees 6, 8, and 9. And this has to be 4, 2, and 1. Okay. In this column, I still need a 3 and a 5, and that one can't be a 3, so that's a 5. That's a 3. In this column, I need 6, 8, and 9. And this one is not a 6. This 7. Removes 7 from there. We also remove 9 from there. That means we need a 1 on this arrow. So that has to be a 1. This is now 2, 3, and 4 to make a 9 here. And that's not 9. We can remove a 4 from here. So 1, 2, 3 would make 6. This can't be a 6 because 1, 2, 6 would make 9. 1, 2, 5 would make 8. 1, 3, 5 would make 9. Oh, and in fact, this 3 is just looking at the cross there. That's a 2. Okay. This is a 3-cell arrow. It's all within this box, so it can't have a 1 on it. Therefore, it has to be 2, 3, 4 with a 9. And it either goes 2, 3, 4, 9, or it goes 2, 3, 4, 9. And this cell can't be a 2. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 9. Very nice. Okay. Three in this row. Just spotted. Because of those 3s, 3 has to be in one of those 2 places, but it can't be here because of this 3. So that's a 3, that's a 6. This row needs 1, 5, 8. And this can't be a 1. Okay. This is from 4789. That one's not 4. That one's not 9. 6 is in one of these two. Nine is in one of those two. Three is in one of those two. 2 is in one of those two. 1 is in one of those two. All right, what am I missing? It must be Sudoku because I don't see any other partially shown clues yet. So do I have a naked single somewhere? So it's got to be somewhere that sees an 8. So that sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. So that's 5, 7, or 9. That sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So that's 5 or 7. That is 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5, 6, or 7. Uh, okay. Those are 5, 8, and 9 between them. What am I missing? All right. I have a 1 in one of those. One of those is a 1. I've got my 1 marked there. 2s. One of those is a 2. I've got one of those is a 2. Threes. Three goes in one of those two, goes in one of those two. Fours. There we go. That's a 4. All right. The only path this has is here and then here. So this has to be 5, this has to be 9. That makes this 7 and this 8. That makes that a 1, 5 pair. That's not a 9, this is. That displaced a 6 to there. These are 7 and 8. Okay. So if that's not a 2, if the 2 is here, then what does that mean? That means that 5 and 7 are the lowest digits possible on this thermometer arrow. So that has to be a 2. That makes this a 1. That makes that a 2. That can't be 3 or 4. It could be a 5, and it can't be a 7 because that would make that 10. So that is 5. That makes that 8. And that is not 8. Okay, that 5 makes this a 1 and this a 5. That's 4, 6, and 7 to complete the row. This one is not a 4. Nine in this row can't go here or here, so that's a 9. That makes this an 8, and that's a 4, 7 pair. 9 comes out of there. That's a 5, 8. That makes this 6 and this 9. That makes this 9. 2 is not there. That's here. That makes this 6 or 7. Okay, the 2 digits to complete this row are 7 and 8. That's an 8. That's a 7. That's not a 7. That 7 makes this 8 and this 7. And now it ought to be basically Sudoku to complete. Right, this is 6, 7, and 5. And that's not a 7, and that's not a 6. Okay. In this column, I need a 3 and a 5. 3 there. Yes, that can't be a 5, so that's a 3. That's a 5. That resolves my 8 and 5 here. 4, 6, 9. That's not a 9, so that's a 9. That's 4 or 6. Okay. All right. One of those two is a 1. We've got a 2. 3 in this box is one of those two. 4 has quite a few options. 5 is one of the... no, we've already got 5. So 5 is in one of those two over here. 4 is one of those two. Have I got all my nines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, eights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So eights in one of those two, eights in one of those two. Sevens. Not doing nearly so well with sevens. Sixes. No. Fives. All right, what am I missing now then? So these are 4, 5, 7, 8. That is not 5 or 8. That's not a 5 or a 7. That's not a 4. That's not a 7 or an 8. Okay. Hmm. Did I have all my twos? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. A pair of threes there. Right. Those are from 1, 4, 6, and 7. And that's not a 7. And that's not a 4. This cell sees 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't see 6. Sees 7, 8, 9. That's 1, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So that's a 1, 6. Okay, that gives me a 1, 6, 7 triple in the row. That makes that a 3, 8 pair. Now that is not resolved. Okay. That's 1, 4, 5, 6, but not 5. So that's 1, 4, or 6. This from the row is 1, 3, 4, or 6, but it sees 1, 4, 6 in the column. That is a naked 3. So that is not a 3. That makes this 8 and this 3. It's just looking in the right place was the key. That's not 8. This is an 8. Looks like we've got another thing happening. This is 4 or 6. Okay, this, we can see that the line goes this way, those 3 cells. If this were the thermobulb, that would be 4, that would be 6, that would have to be 10. So that means that this is the thermo bulb. It can't go down into here because that would be 1, 6. It can't go 1, 4, 6. So this must be the 1. Now that can't be the end. This has to be the end. So this has to be 6. This has to be 7. And this is 4. That's a 1. That's a 6. That's a 7. That's 5. And that's 4. That makes this 7, 6, and 5. This is 4. This is 7. This is 4. And this is 6. Fired right on target. Yep, I really enjoyed that. The sort of meta about thinking that the thermometers required the arrows to be limited to 3 cells was an interesting thing to think about, and then figuring out how the central box worked. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. If you'd like this solved, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.